Today, me and Tuck will take you along with us as we grab a massive harvest from our container garden and share why we are planting some crops only in containers next year. Let's go! Let's start out by grabbing some fresh harvest from our organic container garden. Look at the level of production on these plants. Look at that pepper right there. Insane. Check out the eggplant. The pure white eggplant. Look how many eggplants are on one single plant here. And check out this pepper over here. It's unbelievable. Not to mention we have other things growing like eggplants, moringa tree right over here. And let's grab some harvest from these sweet peppers. Look at this pepper. Look at the beauty of this yellow bell. This one too. Check that out. So nice. Looks like Tuck already found himself a pepper. He's having some snacks already. Right, boy? Oh, I think he wants a little bit of some of these fresh peppers. We got the Jimmy Nardello in the back here. One of my favorite all-time peppers. Let's grab that one. Another sweet pepper. And then the apple sweet. This one is so sweet and so good. I'll take a bite of this one and give Tuck a bite too. Look at the beauty on that. So nice. So I'm gonna get into why some crops I'm only gonna be growing in containers next year. I'll show you a few things, but I just wanna grab a few fresh harvests because there's just so much to grab. I'm gonna take a bite of this one first and see if Tuck wants some. Really good, really sweet. I'll let you know how good it is. That looks like that's Tuck approved right there. Spam some hearts down low if you love seeing the little boss in the video. Check out right up here. We've got more of the shishito peppers. We've got the banana peppers. Look how ripe that thing is. Look at the production on these. I'm not even that huge of a plant. And then check out the King of the North. These has some beautiful peppers on it. This thing was absolutely loaded, but you can see it got so heavy, it snapped from the wind in the storm. So it all dropped them down here. But we'll still be able to harvest these and eat these because they're so good. So really impressive stuff. You won't believe the size of the eggplants that I have growing in pots over here. The biggest, healthiest eggplants I've ever grown. Swing around. Same thing happened here. I left too many eggplants on it. A storm came, the wind blew it and just cracked the stem. But look at the production of eggplants. One plant. It looks like I had one go bad on the backside. Let's cut that out first. But look at that. This is the Rosita, one of my favorite all-time eggplants. Look at the color, look at the beauty. Perfect. And then right next to me, the Rosa Bianca. Look at this one. This one didn't crack, but this one has insane production. Oh, this might be the Listata de Gandia actually. Look at that. Look at the color of this. Oh, this one's split actually. Too much water too fast, but some of these other ones are just insane. Look at them. Beautiful eggplant. You'll love to see it. All grown in containers. You need little to no space to grow this much food. Organically, you can eat it fresh. There's nothing like getting fresh organic harvests right from your own backyard or your patio. Now, let's check out how some of the eggplants and peppers are growing in the raised beds. You'll notice they're growing really well actually. Just as good as in pots, I would say. Although some of the ones in pots have a little higher production because I think they get their own space, which is a good thing. There's more nice peppers back here, peppers over here. So one of the reasons I'm going to be growing my peppers and eggplants only in containers in the future is because the peppers and eggplants, they're just ready so late in the season. Like I have to put them in the ground in like late spring, early summer. And then they sit in that spot for such a long period of time and the production doesn't really start getting heavy until late in the season when a lot of the other stuff is finished. Because of that, I can't like replace my whole bed and get a whole round of fall stuff in. Like look to my left here. This is how I would like this other raised bed to be. Covered with brassicas, lettuces, all different kind of things that are going to feed me late in the season. And I kind of have to have my brassicas and stuff with a cover on them because the cabbage whiteflies and a lot of other bugs come for the brassicas. So when I have the peppers growing in a spot, it's kind of hard for me to cover them when the peppers are already growing in here. Not to mention, things like peppers and eggplants have like little to no pest issues. So it doesn't make sense for me to like waste space and try to cover those plants when they don't really even need the insect net covering. So it'd be nice to just transition the beds like I did here, which I'll be able to do in the future when I plant my peppers and eggplants only in containers. So that's definitely an adjustment I'm going to be doing next year. And then some other things like my flowers, I'll still let them grow, but I'll be able to just cut them back, head them back, and then they'll put out new heads. So those are like the main things in here that are kind of preventing me from covering this bed and getting a lot of my brassicas planted. Next year, when I'm growing my eggplants and peppers only in containers, it's going to be freeing up so much extra space in my raised beds. So that's going to be great. Another thing is, when I grow all my peppers and eggplants in containers like I'm doing right here, I'll be able to take these containers into the greenhouse and extend my season when some of the nights get a little nasty. What I'll also be able to do is I'll be able to overwinter this stuff and then grow the same plants next year if I want, because peppers are perennials, so I'll be able to take it inside. It's a huge added bonus. These aren't the only things that I'm growing in containers though. I'm growing basically everything in containers. Come over here. Here's some sweet potato plants I'm growing. And this one isn't finished yet, so I'm not gonna harvest them. But last year I grew sweet potatoes in a container just like this. I got massive harvest from it and it was so worth it. I also grew potatoes in containers this year. I showed you guys that earlier and I got a great harvest from that also. I'm growing things like moringa trees. I showed that earlier, but this is really cool. I could even take this inside, try to overwinter it, and then have the same moringa tree growing next year. Let me bring you over to some tomatoes and stuff that have done fantastic for me in container. Come over this way. So these tomato plants have just pumped out so many tomatoes this year. You'll notice I'm growing them up a peach tree. So this is space that I never would have used before. And we're still getting tomatoes this late in the season. I mean, the harvests aren't massive, but it's still great to get fresh tomatoes this late. One of my favorite varieties, the Super Sweet 100, and even the Sun Gold Cherry. The Sun Gold's probably doing even better over here. Look how pretty some of those tomatoes are, especially when the light hits them. So when growing in containers like this, there's so many added benefits. I just previously made a video about 5 advantages to growing in containers, especially for something like tomatoes, where some soil-borne diseases can cause a lot of problems. When you make your own soil like I do and use a nice organic fertilizer, you don't have to worry about those soil-borne diseases, and it makes growing food a lot easier and a lot more fun. Me and Tuck are growing brassicas in containers also. And I also have some cold hardy veggies like lettuce and stuff on deck, ready to go in their own pots. Me and Tuck wanted to mention that we just dropped some new merch at jamesprigioni.com. It says "sew with the flow" on it. We're really happy with the way it came out. Kind of this idea of just, you know, things might not always go perfect for you, but you got to keep on sowing. You just got to sow with the flow, basically. Just keep planting. So you'll notice some of these brassicas down here have a little bit of damage on them from bugs. This is one of the reasons why I like planting my brassicas in the beds, where I can cover them with an insect netting so I don't have to spray them. I can just kind of avoid insect issues. Come down here, look at this. We've got a harlequin bug sitting right on this brassica. I'll just crush that, but my other brassicas in the beds don't have that issue because I always keep the insect netting on it, except for one I just showed you earlier. So if you run into some issues with your brassicas, like the cabbage white butterfly, which puts down the cabbage worms, I'll give you a clip of some cabbage worms that were right on this broccoli just the other day. So if you see those cabbage worms, a great thing to use that's made a massive difference in my garden is BT. BT works so fantastic for the cabbage worms. After I started using this, I got consistent cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli harvests like every time. It works incredible. If you have issues with white flies, which are a problem right now, you can see some of these plants have white fly damage. Let me see, yeah, you can see them here. So I haven't been able to spray these recently because we've had so much rain, but now that the rain is cleared up, I'm gonna get rid of the white flies. Tuck's eating a pepper over there. He's so funny. I'm gonna get rid of the white flies by using this right here. Safer Insect soap right here. This works really good. You could also use neem oil. Just make sure it's the cold pressed neem oil with the Azadirachta in it. All the products I'm showing you, I'll put links down in the description if you want to get them. These help so much for helping me get consistent brassicas. They work great. And when it comes to my soil, I build my own soil. If you want, I could do a detailed video of that in the future. So as my base, I use coco coir, then I'll use some perlite and vermiculite mixed, and then I use compost. I use a mushroom compost. Because I'm using a mushroom compost, it's already been used to grow mushrooms. So the nutrition is a little depleted. Because of that, I use an organic fertilizer. I use my own organic fertilizer JP's Secret Stuff. You can check this out down low also. But if you're impressed with the health of the plants, the production, and how well everything's growing, this is the only thing I used in my garden besides that mushroom compost, which has little to no nutrition in it. So there's so many things you can grow in containers. Don't just limit it to a few of the things I shared with you, like the peppers and the eggplants, but in my opinion, it just makes so much sense to grow peppers and eggplants in the future only in containers, because then it's freeing up so much space in your raised beds too. It's like creating no space out of like thin air, basically. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you got something out of it. Me and Tuck have a whole tray of cold hardy stuff still on deck that needs to be planted in pots. We're gonna be growing this stuff late into the season, especially like the cilantro and some of the parsley that I have. I'm going to be planting those in pots so that when it gets too cold for them to grow outside, I'm gonna bring them inside, grow them on the south facing window in my house, and I'll be able to have just fresh herbs in the garden for a while. So we suggest you guys try doing that. I'm also gonna take a lot of that stuff, bring it in the greenhouse, and be growing it deep into the winter. So I'm excited for that also. I'm blown away by the level of production on some of these plants. It's encouraging, and like this year, even the past couple months, I've just got such a new kick for like container gardening. It's just, I'm seeing so many of the values and so many of the great things that come from doing it. And it's like, I want to keep sharing this because some of you out there maybe aren't starting a garden because you don't have the space. So I would say you can't let lack of space prevent you from growing some of your own food when you can grow in containers. And I've got some ideas on getting free containers next year. And me and Tuck just, I don't know, we just got some kick for growing food in containers right now. It's a lot of fun, and it's like reinvigorated me to plant more, grow more, and just see how much I could do next year. Me and Tuck wanted to mention a thank you to one of our new channel members, Kenneth Williams. Thanks for being a part of Team Grow. Thanks for having your hand in everything we're doing out here. It means a lot to me and the Little Boss. We also wanted to mention to check out the merch down at jamesprigioni.com. Grab a Sew with the Flow shirt. We have long sleeve shirts, we have sweatshirts, and we still have the Gardening is Life sweatshirt. And you can't forget about Tuck's own merch. This guy's got his own merch. That's what happens when you're king. So he was so well behaved out here today. He's grabbing his peppers. He had his pepper snacks. Now he's kind of just chilling out. It's a nice day for the time of year, so we're just trying to soak up all the sun that we can, and we're just trying to make as many videos as we can to encourage you guys to get some food growing in your backyard and your patio. There's nothing like it. Organic, fresh food right from the garden. It's the best. So we had a blast out here. We hope you guys got some value out of the video. If you did, do not forget to share this one with your friends and share it with someone that you think might need a little motivation to grow some of their own food at home too. Tuck and James will be back again real soon. We out.